welcome to the first episode of the Asia Pacific Auto Podcast by S&P Global Mobility. I'm your host, Gaurav Vangal, and today with me, we have with us Yoshiaki Kawano-san from Japan. Yoshi-san is our expert on the region of Japan and Korea's light vehicle sales forecast. He has actively engaged with our clients and continuously provides strategic guidance on the trends in the region. Today, he will help us understand Japan's domestic outlook and also provides his insights on the challenges faced by Japanese car makers at the regional level and the global markets. So, welcome, Yoshi-san.
Thank you very much for having me on this podcasting and Gaurav for the kind introduction and giving me some opportunity to talk about some Japan market outlook.
So, Yoshi-san, let's start with the domestic market first. We kept hearing that the global markets are struggling and it is coming out of the pandemic. Now, what we wanted to understand that how's the confidence level among consumers or car makers in the current year? Since we are hearing that CPI inflation is high at 2.9% in Japan and real GDP growth is forecasted to be 1%. But when we talk about the market, light vehicle sales market, how's the market expanding and reporting double-digit growth in 2023 for Japan?
Correct, Gaurav. Thank you. And Japanese domestic consumers are now facing some difficulties in consumption and struggling with the higher inflation, as you said, prices of goods and services increasing on the back of the higher prices of energy and food, etc. On the other hand, what we call it inbound tourism, meaning tourists from abroad visiting to Japan, is coming back after COVID-19 reopening of the economy, and we believe this will become a help for the domestic economy. At the same time, in Japan, domestic automotive sales market is forecast to expand from the last year, mainly due to the lower base of the comparison, and partially due to some chips and component shortages and supply constraints disrupting new vehicle registration and sales process and delivery in the domestic market last year. So domestic OEMs as well as import brands have been unable to meet the demand for new vehicles and experience and declining sales. Therefore, what we are seeing now for the current year market progress and projection is due to the pent-up demand release and easing and improving the supply of the constraints and situation carried over from the past years.
Okay. So we understand that it is coming because of the pent up demand and the supply chain issue what we received at the Japanese market last year. But one question repeatedly come into the mind whenever we discuss the Japan market. That's the aging population. So do you think that aging population will continue to have an impact over the next 10 years?
Yes, we believe that in the medium term and longer term, Japanese aging population and demographic trend may pose some challenges to Japanese market. And given the population is already declining over 500,000 every year now in Japan, so the Japanese total population will suffer from the longer term declining trend. We believe aging society will have more older people, which means over 70 years old and tend to have giving up owning the vehicles or at least not replacing the vehicle. So demographic problem may result in more job mismatches and increasing obstacles for sustained economic growth. And then Japan market, domestic market expected to go down from what we expect 4.6 million units in 2023 to 4.3 million units in 2030.
Okay, so that means that it is going to have an impact on the light vehicle sales, definitely, right? So my second question will be coming from the consumer side and their preferences. So we keep hearing that in the ASEAN market or the Asia market that the consumers are debating about EVs and the hybrids, and also in the worldwide market. But is it the same dilemma Japanese consumers are facing, or what are the Japanese consumers' preferences? Is it a HEV or the EV side?
Thank you. Yes, obviously, Japan consumer interest on battery EV is growing as we see in the global market as well, with the new products coming into the market and the new models launches that but in reality, what they buy now in Japan is the hybrid vehicles with a higher demand. So I would say now for the Japanese consumer preference is more on the hybrid vehicles than the battery EV vehicles, reflecting the fact for the range anxiety of the battery EV is the one. And secondly, for the battery vehicle, price itself much higher than priced than the hybrid vehicles. And even with the consideration of the subsidies and tax benefit available for the battery EVs, the charging infrastructure matters. The slow charging or quick charging station availability, or the public and home charging environment difference. Those seems to be the pain points or the some challenges in even consider buying for the battery EV in Japan.
Okay, okay. So that dilemma still exists, I think. So let me come to the last section of our podcast. That's one of the most important section. What we think. So, any specific Japan market issue or questions our clients are regularly concerned about or asking our support on the same. We keep hearing about the regional competition from the Chinese car makers. Let's talk about that. As we know, Chinese OEMs are making remarkable progress towards the BEVs, while Japanese OEMs seem struggling somewhere. Right? Is this a structural change, or in the Chinese market, or in the regional market? Are there opportunities available for the Japanese OEMs to come back in the domestic market too?
All right. We do see as the structure changes for the market in China because of the regulation and policy-led market structure should change the shape of the market, and there's for the impacting for the OEM market strategy as well, depending on the OEM, of course, and presence of each market. But currently, Japan and Japanese OEMs are losing market share to Chinese OEM in the China market, as we see, and there is no solid sign of this stage for the trend to be reversed. It could be some change when more of the competitive set of the products coming into the market for coming back. It could still be a challenge for the Japanese OEM to do so for this time round. Yes.
Okay, so Yoshi-san, do you think that will Japanese OEMs lose market share to Chinese OEMs in Asia and global as well, continuously? And what's your view about it? So this you're saying that yes, we as the Japanese OEMs are still struggling, but yes, do you think that it will remain continuous and they will continuously lose market share among the global and the global markets and the Asia market?
It seems under the current situation, I would say yes, due to the Chinese OEM market expansion and entering new market in Asia as well as in the global market with more products and new brands to bring in, such as BYD or Cherry, Geely has got many multiple brands strategy on this one, Great Wall and SAIC, MG, etc. So they are already gaining some momentum by expanding market share and bring more attractive product to the local market in a speedy way to do this.
So I think the situation is very much tense. And thank you very much, Yoshi-san, for your time and sharing your invaluable insights and expertise. It has been a truly enlightening conversation. Let's wait and see how the EV competition shapes up in the coming years. So, thank you very much for your support, Yoshi-san. Thank you very much, everyone listening. Let's meet again in our next episode of Asia Pacific Auto Podcast by S&P Global Mobility.